So, we were going to record an episode of Shit That I Do Not Tell You About today, but unfortunately, our favorite co-host, Nikki, got sick and her voice is shot. She does not sound herself and it hurts to talk. So, unfortunately, but fortunately, we are going to treat your ears with what many consider a classic episode of Shit They Do Not Tell You What About podcast, which is, of course, the Nicholas Cage episode. So please enjoy. Nicholas Cage has a new movie out about, it's a very third-person satirical view of the way we all see him, and that way that we all see him is definitely reflected in this episode. So please enjoy.
Welcome back to Shit They Don't Tell You. I'm Nikki Limo.
Hi, what's up? My name is Steve Green.
This is my beautiful husband, Steve Green.
Thank you.
This is the last episode of the year.
Hey, Happy New Year, everybody.
I can't believe we're here already. We made it.
We made it through the holidays, made it through Christmas times.
That's crazy.
We made it through your drunk dad, talking too loud in your face and with beer breath.
Yeah.
We made it through all of that.
You subscribed you.
Huh?
You're that.
I'm that guy?
You're my drunk dad.
Am I?
Yeah.
Do I do that?
If you've had too many, but I like beer breath. I'm a weirdo.
Yeah, you do. You like that.
Yeah.
I don't
also
really drink beer very much.
Tequila breath is more likely.
That's what you get from me.
Steve, yeah. I like all alcohol breath. I'm weird.
Yeah, you're a weirdo. So, everybody, we wanted to give you guys a very special episode because you guys are a very special audience.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you guys listening over the past year.
Well, the past
it's like what,
9 months.
9 months, yeah. So we're all pretty close. So I wanted to get a little closer to you guys and reveal
something close to Steve's heart.
Yeah, it's just something that's very personal for me, which is the life and works of Nicholas Cage.
Shit that they don't tell you about Nicholas Cage.
That's what this is. The shit they don't tell you about Nicholas Cage.
And they really don't, because nobody's told me anything about Nicholas Cage.
Well, you haven't been paying attention, I think.
No, you're right, but I don't pay attention to my taxes either, and my credit score and all that stuff that they don't tell me about.
Well, Nicholas Cage is definitely something you should be getting in the mail, I think, every year. Like taxes, because I think that the he has mastered the art of not giving a fuck. Like you know how you're into that idea,
right? I'm into the idea because I so much give a fuck. I don't want to, but I really can't stop giving a fuck.
And so before everyone just writes this off, it's a big bit and like, oh, what a bit. Steve's doing a bit. The whole show's a bit.
Steve would never do a bit. How dare you guys?
I would never do a bit for the whole show.
He would never ever do a bit.
Never. And that's
he's a very serious man.
And that's what I'm trying to say is that Nicholas, like the way that he has conducted himself throughout his career in because he started as a Coppola. I mean, he was literally in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and he was Nicholas Coppola.
Right.
But then he was upset because a bunch of the
people were like, "You're only famous or successful because you're a Coppola."
Yeah, and he was getting treated like that on set. And he's like, fuck this. I don't want to experience this anymore. I am going to be Nicolas Cage, which he named because he's a big comic book fan. So he renamed himself Nicolas Cage after the comic book character Luke Cage, which now is like a known thing. But back then, nobody fucking knew anything about Luke Cage. Like maybe like the nerd with the most stained shirt at the comic book store like knew about Luke Cage. Like ain't nobody know Luke Cage. That's like when fucking Guardians of the Galaxy came out. Remember that? And I remember going to the movie theater and I remember overhearing people being like, oh yeah, like it's not like the comic book. And I'm like, you didn't read the fucking Guardians of the Galaxy comic book, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even know what the shit that was. Nobody knew what Guardians of the Galaxy was until it came out.
Didn't Emilio Estevez change his name, too?
Yeah, the Mighty Ducks man. Yeah, he sure did.
Because him and Charlie Sheen are related?
Yeah, he's a Sheen.
Yeah. He's a Sheen,
He's a full-blown Sheen.
But he's like, I'm going to lean more into
Which is less fun to say now.
Estevez.
You used to be able to say full-blown Sheen, and that was a lot of fun, but now it's not much fun. Thanks to Charlie's exploits. Jesus, Charlie. But I assume it was a mistake, so we're all rooting for Charlie.
Yeah.
But my point is that he started as a Coppola. How much more seriously could a human being start as an actor on this planet than as a Coppola,
Maybe
bro?
as a Streep.
Yeah, right, exactly. Mm-hmm. But her daughter does some fun stuff, kinda. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. So like that's what I'm saying. Like this guy has gone the full Monty, right? Like he started doing like he was in some pretty legit movies, right? Like he's been in a ton. But now where he's at, mostly through, a bout of I would say, terrible mortgage decisions.
Mm-hmm. One of them. Yeah.
Terrible.
Did he own like
timing?
He owns like four castles or something?
He had two castles.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he had properties all over the world.
Uh-huh.
He had a pet shark. Guy's a fucking legend, right? Like, yeah, he had 2 pet albino rattlesnakes.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's an absolute psychopath, right?
He can't just have one of something, huh?
No.
Just have like.
Well, he has one
multiples.
shark.
Oh, okay.
In respect from him.
For now.
Yeah. Let's get that right. But yeah, but for him to be where he's at right now, I think mostly through financial ruin, it has really softened him so that he's not being like Mr. Serious wannabe serious actor anymore, and now he's more Cage-like. He's become the Nick Cage that we all know because he started so serious, I think.
But this didn't just happen when he went into financial ruin.
Basically, yeah, it did.
Before that.
No. Like, before that, like, he was...
Like The Sorcerer's Apprentice, was that before?
That was kind of during.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of in the middle of it. Yeah, but then, because he was in, like, Raising Arizona and all this, like, super dope stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And then later on, he was doing, like, not long after that, he was in The Rock with Sean Connery's.
Okay.
Right? Then he was...
All the Sean Connerys.
Right. Then he was doing a little famously known movie, maybe you ever heard of it, called Face Off.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, a fucking... one of the greatest films ever made.
People take their face off?
No. Face Off is about a cop who... So this guy, this terrorist killed his son, right? Okay. And Face Off is about a cop who's like, I'm going to get fucking revenge on this dude. This guy's the worst dude in the world. So he's like, I'm going to get this son of a bitch, right? It's really personal. And then he basically gets his man. He captures the terrorist, but then like there's an accident that happens. And so then they find out that the terrorist has planted a bomb that's going to destroy Los Angeles if he doesn't get the information about where the bomb is. But Nicholas Cage is dead at this point, or so he thinks. So John Travolta.
Are these spoilers?
Yeah.
You should give a spoiler warning.
It's a 1997 movie. I think they'll be okay.
Well, I've never seen it.
Well, it's a classic film. Even if, look, that's like saying like, hey, Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet is about like, they fall in love and then they drink the poison. It's still a beautiful story, even if you already know.
Okay.
Right. Okay, so in Face Off, he has to find out where the bomb is. But, like, John Travolta has to find out where the bomb is because he's a good guy. But Nicolas Cage is unconscious. And so he's like, well, shit, how do we get to find out where the bomb is from his brother? They captured the terrorist brother. If we don't, because he won't talk to us. He will only talk to his brother. So then John Travolta does a high risk, very controversial procedure.
Where he puts the brother's face on Nicolas Cage?
No, he puts Nicolas Cage's face on John Travolta. John Travolta takes Nicolas Cage's face.
Yeah.
And then he talks to the brother about where the bomb is. But while he's talking to the brother about where the bomb is, Nicolas Cage wakes up from his unconsciousness. And what does he do? He takes John Travolta's face because he's super freaking ripped about how John Travolta took his face. He's like, hey, where's my face? And they're like, well, sorry, somebody else is using it right now.
Wait, so John Travolta's face is just laying around somewhere?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Well, because he took his face off so that he could...
Yeah, but like,
that's the movie title.
Does it have bacteria on it? I'm so confused.
Well, I'm sure.
So it's just been laying there for a couple months.
It's been no, not months, like for a couple days or whatever. But yeah, it's been chilling.
Just days.
But it's under, it's in like a secured little thing of glass or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, that's my bad.
Yeah. So then he takes Nicolas Cage's face.
All right.
John Travolta now is Nicolas Cage, and then Nicolas Cage is now John Travolta.
Got it.
So for the rest of the movie, you're like, oh shit, Nicolas Cage is doing an impression of John Travolta, and you're like, oh shit, John Travolta is doing an impression of Nicolas Cage, and he's doing pretty good.
Huh.
It's a hell of a movie.
Wait, but
I won't tell you how it ends.
If they just took the faces off, like, what, do they have the same exact body type in this movie?
I mean, pretty much. They're both wearing suits.
Oh, so you can't really tell.
They were both wearing boxy 90s suits, so yeah. You can't tell at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was probably no mistake on the wardrobe's part.
But this movie was, I think, directed by John Woo. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's directed by John Woo or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's a dope ass movie.
Okay.
And that was one of the earlier 1990s movies of Nick Cage, right? So then later on, he's doing, it's a John Woo film. Thank you, a John Woo joint.
Got it. I never doubted you.
Thank you. And so then Nicholas Cage is doing pretty good. He's like, fuck, I'm making $40 million a year. He's like, yeah, I think I'm kicking absolute ass at this thing called life, right? I mean, this cat's like buying. Now he's buying castles, right? Now he's buying horses.
Horses?
Many horses.
It's an S in there.
What is it?
It's HORS.
Yeah, he's buying as many horses as he can get his hands on.
No, that's not the
multiple horses, right? So then he's buying. I'm telling you, this cat bought a Lamborghini Countach.
What's that?
Beautiful. Oh no, he bought it. No, it was
Didn't he have like 4 Ferraris?
Oh yeah, I mean his Ferraris had Ferraris.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he had a Lamborghini Miura, which is a super rare $400,000 vehicle. Oh. That he bought from the fucking Shah of Iran. I mean, this cat was killing it. That's what I'm saying. Like $40 million a year. Imagine what you could do with $40 million a year.
I can't.
Yeah. Well, only 2 people pretty much know what that's like. Nicholas Cage and another man.
Only 2 people?
Well, yeah, and another man. Well, no.
Only 2 people have ever had $40 million?
Only 2 people who are famous actors.
What? Keanu Reeves?
No.
Yeah?
No.
Yeah?
Keanu Reeves is very humble.
Look at his net worth.
Keanu Reeves lives out of motels and shit. Keanu Reeves is very famous. He basically lives out of a guitar suitcase.
So that's his reality of what 40 million is like?
No. You're not listening to me.
Okay, let me further your.
You don't know what it's like to make $40 million and go, I have to spend this money.
Okay, that's the missing part.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves doesn't do this shit.
Got it. Well, that was the part you were missing.
No, Keanu Reeves.
You said that only 2 actors know what $40 million is like.
No, Keanu Reeves is a pauper. He's a nomad.
Yes.
You know, he's making killer money, but Nicolas Cage and Johnny Depp, they both make that much money, and they're like, I gotta spend this fucking $40 million.
Yeah, Johnny Depp has like islands.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And guess who else had islands? Nick Cage. That's what I'm saying. There's only 2 people who really had the same experience.
I see. The same experience with the $40 million.
Well, where they're both just crushing the earth.
No, I understand you now.
Yeah, and people are fucking, like, you can go to any Japanese restaurant, and like, everyone starts clapping when you get there. Like,
is that what you would do?
Yeah, of course. Well, dude, did you know that Kevin Spacey used to go into restaurants and people would get up and applause and shit?
No.
Just because he's alive? No. Just because he was a good actor? You know what I mean? Can you imagine what that's like?
No.
But why I say Japanese restaurant is because he could go into a place where he normally wouldn't have been recognized, but he's an international star.
Right.
And they would all fucking clap because that's the kind of guy.
Wow.
The kind of fame.
Okay.
Right. So when you got that kind of money, you're wheeling and dealing that kind of bread.
Yeah.
Yeah, you make some mistakes. You know what I mean? Yeah, you buy a lot of mortgages during the peak of the bubble. Like this cat Nicolas Cage bought all these houses that we're talking about, like in 2009 and shit.
Wait, that's not the peak of the bubble.
No, I'm sorry. In
2007.
In 2007, yeah.
Yeah, because I was gonna say 2009. He bought at the right time.
He was buying them up to that point, so he was just like loading properties.
Right.
And then, of course, when the bubble burst, he's like, what the fuck do you mean I got to go do Wicker Man? You know what I mean? Because they're like, hey, bro, yeah, like you're on the lam for, first of all, the IRS is like, you owe $6 million for 2006 or whatever, or 2009. And so he basically was L-fucked, and he felt very L-fucked.
Did he file for bankruptcy?
I think so.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't have that information.
It was something like pretty drastic. He definitely had to sell his castles.
He filed for career bankruptcy, I think, because he basically just started saying yes. He literally, famously, if you call the Nicolas Cage number to book him for a feature, he immediately answers and just in a hurried, huffed voice says yes.
So what happened to Robert De Niro going from like Taxi and Godfather and stuff to not Taxi? Was he in Taxi?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. To
Taxi Driver.
to Meet the Fockers.
Not Taxi, the show.
Right.
Yeah. What happened to?
I always get mixed up with him and
Christopher Lloyd.
No. Continue. the other
The other guy in Taxi? Bob Newhart. Who the fuck was that?
No. The other guy in Godfather.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really?
The other, what's his name?
Marlon Brando?
What the fuck is his name? He's so super
Pacino?
famous. Pacino.
Oh, Al Pacino.
I always get them mixed up. So like sometimes I'll say a movie that Al Pacino was in and it was really De Niro or something.
A couple times you'd be right because they'd both be in it.
Right, exactly. So anyway, now he's doing Meet the Fockers and all that. So what's his
I think it's the same kind of shit where
story?
like I think that love of money is a very powerful drug.
It's either love of money or that they are done, it's really emotionally draining playing those huge serious roles. Yeah. That sometimes you just want something fucking light and fun.
Sometimes you're Halle Berry and you're like, you know what? I just did Monsters Ball.
I'm going to do the Flintstones.
And now I'm doing Catwoman.
Oh.
And then I'll do Flintstones later.
She was in Flintstones first.
Oh, she was? Yeah. My bad. Well, dude, she did Catwoman. You remember that fucking dumpster fire?
I didn't watch it.
Oh, I saw that in the theater,
We didn't
bro.
watch a lot of movies when I was growing up.
Well, let me tell you something about that movie. We couldn't afford to go to the theater. Sharon Stone was the bad guy in that movie.
Yeah.
And I was rooting for Sharon Stone just because it was funny. Because everything Halle Berry did was very melodramatic, and it was like she was acting in like a Mexican soap opera or something. It was very, very strange.
Who else played Catwoman? Melanie Griffith? No, was it? The first Cat.
I think it was somebody who was in Taxi. Who else was in Taxi?
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer. Yeah.
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 I liked that one.
She was hella good at Catwoman.
She was so good.
But Nicholas Cage famously was almost Superman as well.
Oh, I must not be that famous because I didn't know that.
Well, there's a movie called The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened, which basically chronicles the entire saga of Tim Burton's failed Superman project. And Nicolas Cage was going to be Kal-El.
Oh.
And he even named his son Kal-El because he's a super huge Superman fan. Obviously, he's a comic book fan. Oh, what a
bummer to not actually get it then.
Well, he had it actually, and then they did some test stuff of him in the suit, so you could see footage of Nicolas Cage in a Superman suit with like I don't know what else to call it, like Ludwig Beethoven hair, like fucking nutty ass.
I can picture it.
Yeah, it was pretty bizarre.
Yeah,
because in the 90s, Superman had the kind of longer shoulder length hair.
Oh,
yeah, because Rachel was super popular on Friends, and I think they were like, oh, we can capitalize on some of his popularity if we throw fucking Rachel hair on Superman. I'm not even kidding. I don't even know what they were thinking because he basically had like this full-blown do.
Huh.
In the 90s. Very strange.
Okay.
But yeah, so then...
so he didn't get to...
He didn't get to be because Tim Burton... basically, the studio and Tim Burton couldn't quite get right on it. So it kind of fell apart.
Okay.
Very sad.
Very sad.
And unfortunate. And
was his son already born, Kal-El?
Yeah, he already had his son named Kal-El. He's a big Superman fan his whole life, so he was already super into Superman.
I see.
Thank you.
Okay.
But yeah, he was buying exotic cars. He's buying motorcycles. He's loading up on luxury yachts, right? He had one called Sarita. It cost $20 million.
Sarita?
Yeah, so imagine you made $40 million in a year, and you're like, I'm going to spend $20 million of that right now on a fucking yacht, on a 20-bedroom yacht.
Damn.
Exactly.
Why?
Because I'm telling you, I don't know. It's like you think you're like, I made it. This is gonna be every year. I'm getting $40 million every year, no matter the fuck what. I've done it. So now I'm gonna fucking live like it.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's why Nicolas Cage is in 17 direct-to-DVD movies a year now because he got a lot of overhead. Just
so what are some of your favorites?
My favorite right now is called Mandy. And I'm going to play a clip from that Mandy right now, actually.
Okay.
And I think you guys will really enjoy this. So a lot of people love Nicolas Cage because they love Nicolas Cage freakouts. And I actually don't appreciate the way that people talk about a Nicolas Cage freakout because they don't respect the Lee Strasberg method that he is utilizing during his freakout, which is an animalistic acting technique, and it is not something that should be mocked and made fun of, which a lot of people do. Well, you're laughing right now, and I think that's
just
too bad.
The way you're describing it. I've never seen. I don't know what you're referencing.
Well, did you take acting classes?
I did. No, I understand that.
Do you know what the Lee Strasberg?
No, I'm not.
Technique?
I don't know the reference of Nick Cage using this technique. I haven't seen Nicolas Cage doing it.
You haven't seen Nicolas Cage freakout videos?
No, I've only seen like Susie Q and like Ghost Rider. Those are like the two.
Well, Ghost Rider has some famous freakouts. Okay. Like there's one of them. I'll play one of them if you want to hear it. Yeah, where he's talking about the writers here. And the writers.
Are you sure that was the first one?
It might be the second one, Spirit of Vengeance.
Because I only saw the first one.
Okay, well, I'm going to play this this Nicolas Cage going crazy and Mandy clip.
Okay.
But what I want people to understand, and if you laugh at this, you should really feel bad about yourself, because he's utilizing a very famous acting technique founded by Lee Strasberg. This is an animalistic acting technique, and this is it right
Animalistic.
now.
Crazy evil.
So thank you, Nicholas. And that was.
What's this movie about?
That's a clip from Mandy.
Yeah, what's that about?
So Mandy is a feature film that is about a man and his wife, and they live in the woods, and he works at an oil refinery, and he's almost like he's just a blue collar guy, blue collar John, right?
Yeah.
So his wife gets kidnapped by a gang of mutant motorcycle bandits, and Nicolas Cage finds her, and they basically burned her to death. Yeah, they killed her and then they burned her body.
Is this a spoiler?
Yeah, it's a major spoiler. That's a big spoiler.
You should give some spoiler warnings.
Yeah, that's a big spoiler, guys. All right. So
Sam.
Yeah, so then Nicolas Cage, right? He decides to get revenge after having been captured himself.
Yes.
Because he and his wife both got captured, right?
I got it.
And then he finds that she got burned, and then he stays alive. Mm-hmm. And they basically like tie him up with barbed wire, and they leave him. And then he finds his wife's body, and then he decides he's going to go get the motorcycle mutant bandits.
You would do that for me.
Hell yeah, I would. But he decides to do it because he goes back into his cabin.
Yeah.
And he finds some of his Jack Daniels whiskey, which is his favorite whiskey. Mm-hmm. And
how do you get out of the barbed wire?
He had to basically pull his fingers through it and shit. It was pretty visceral. Yeah. And then so then he starts drinking the whiskey while sitting on the toilet in his tidy whities, because he takes off his jeans because his jeans are very bloodied. And then he starts to utilize this animalistic Lee Strasberg acting technique. While he's drinking whiskey, he starts screaming. And then he keeps drinking whiskey and screaming. And then there's a couple points where he gargles and screams. And then he just starts going like, fuck, fuck, fuck. Like, ah. And he starts breaking shit. Mm-hmm. And which I assume they got in one take, because it's not a very expensive film. But yeah, it was just a really, I thought, powerful acting scene. And by the way, this movie did very well for Nicolas Cage. Okay. So Nicolas Cage, we all expect to you say the name and maybe some people laugh out there, and that's too bad. Like, you say the name Nicolas Cage, and to some people out there, they start laughing already, and that's too bad.
My mom makes a face. She goes, oh.
Yeah, see?
And so then I was like, oh, I guess I won't watch Nick Cage movies.
Well, you know what I do
since I was younger, my mom's always been like, oh, Nick Cage.
And you know what I do when people do that?
What?
I get right up in their face, and I'm like, have you ever heard of Lee fucking Strasberg?
And my mom would be like, no.
And I'm like, well, you should have a little bit of goddamn respect for the craft.
And my mom would be like, let's go try some craft beers at this place down the street that I found.
And I would respectfully decline.
No, you wouldn't.
I would probably go with.
Yeah,
but I would try to explain.
Yeah.
Maybe soften her heart.
Right. Over the craft beers.
Yeah. Yeah. So famously, so this movie actually did really well. So we're actually excited about what Nicolas Cage is going to do next, because this movie was directed by an acclaimed director. Mm-hmm. One of, I would say, the better directors that Nicolas Cage has worked with in the past decade. He's a guy who you had never heard of him, but he did this movie called, oh God, I can't remember the name. Black
Swan?
No, something. I can't remember what it's called, but it was like it got a cult following.
Okay.
You probably never heard of it, even if I say what it's called. Right. But I never saw it. But it had a cult following, and so a lot of people were super stoked on Mandy.
Gotcha.
Because of that, and because of the way that Mandy was shot, and it had a lot of style to it, and it was pretty cool. So Nicolas Cage also had a pet crocodile.
Okay.
Did you know that?
So he had his shark and the crocodile.
Yeah,
and it's separate tanks. Hopefully.
Well, I think because I want to play a quick quote real quick, Mark, if we're gonna have this clip ready. So there's a quote that I want to play, and it's about Nicolas Cage talking about animals, because I think that what Nicolas Cage owned as far as like the animals that he cultivated and that he was the caretaker for, I think that they had quite a bit to do with his process as an actor for getting into character. And you know what I'm saying? For
how does one have a pet shark or a pet crocodile? Does he pet them? Do they love him?
I think they loved him, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I want to play this clip real quick. This is from Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call, New Orleans.
About 20 minutes.
Who else?
His girlfriend, at least one infant. That's as far as we know.
What are these fucking iguanas doing on my coffee table?
There ain't no iguana. Yeah, there are. There ain't no iguana.
What the fuck is that? Fucking iguana.
Thank you. And so what he's saying there, he says, what are these fucking iguanas doing on my coffee table? What he's talking about there is the method that he is utilizing. See, like he references animals. He uses animals to draw his performance from. Do you see what I'm saying?
I guess so.
Yeah. Well, he's big into that. Mm-hmm. And I want to play another clip to show the softer side of Nicolas Cage, because a lot of people, like I said, unfortunately, in the world today, if you say the name Nicolas Cage, people already start to snicker. I see a lot of snickers, a lot of faces from people, and that's too bad. But Nicolas Cage isn't about that. He doesn't take himself too seriously. And I want to play a quote right now from a little movie called Face Off. Here's the quote. Thank you.
Why don't you actually play the quotes?
Well, I don't have them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got to get them.
Because I can't. It'd be.
Well, no, he played them.
But I
You
want
have to pretend like we heard it.
No, I know, but I want to actually hear it.
Okay, I'll fill you in.
Okay.
Okay, so he says, if I were to send you flowers, where would I? No, let me rephrase that. If I were to let you suck my tongue, would you be grateful? Face Off. Nicolas Cage in Face Off. Yeah, so
wait, is it Nicolas Cage or is it John Travolta pretending to be Nicolas Cage?
I don't have that information. It could be either. Any of those quotes could be from the other actor.
Okay, got it.
You have to do me a little bit of
Got it.
give me a little bit of leeway.
Okay.
Because I do not have the answer to that at all. But we're talking about a guy who got an Oscar.
An Oscar?
He got an Oscar.
An Oscar.
For Best Actor in a Leading Role in 1996.
For what?
For the very famous movie Leaving Las Vegas.
Okay.
Which he turned down a major role, a starring role, in Dumb and Dumber to take.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at that.
And then he gets an Oscar.
Why are you calling it an Oscar?
Well, that's what he got.
It's an Oscar.
Right. And he got that for Leaving Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And then we're talking like 20 years later, this cat's in like Wicker Man 2. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because I think that, and what I'm trying to get at with this entire summation is that Nicolas Cage does not take himself so seriously.
Right. You think he was kind of a little bit jealous that he didn't do Dumb and Dumber?
Yeah, probably. I think he was looking back.
Yeah.
But then he also got an Oscar from his decision.
Right.
So I think ultimately probably made the right call. So yeah, we're going to take a break right now.
And then what are we going to do when we come back?
We're going to talk about Nicolas Cage. More about Nicolas Cage when we return.
Can't wait.
And now, a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Okay, wanted to give a huge shout out today to our sponsor, BetterHelp. Me and Nikki are always talking about how important it is to see professional help when you're going through something. It doesn't matter what you're going through. Like we always try to help people see that, you know, what we talk about we think can be helpful to people, but is by no means professional help. So BetterHelp is our sponsor today. And let's put it like this. How well would you take care of your car if you had to keep the same one your whole life, right? You have to do maintenance. That's kind of how our brains work. So it's kind of interesting that we don't necessarily treat them that way because how we care for our minds is obviously going to impact everything in our lives. So Nikki has used BetterHelp many times. And one of the things that she really digs about it is that she can call somebody or she can text with somebody And she doesn't have to worry about the awkwardness of going to a place and maybe they don't have the right connection. Maybe she's with a professional who isn't giving her the help that she thinks that she needs. With BetterHelp, you can switch very easily. It's online therapy that offers video, phone, live chat, therapy sessions. So you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy. You can get matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. So yeah, our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/Steve. That's betterhelp.com/Steve.
What is Green Chef, you ask? Did you ask that?
I just did.
I feel like you did ask that. Well, let me tell you. Green Chef is a CCOF certified meal kit company, okay? Green Chef makes eating well easy with plans to fit every lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or you're just looking to eat more balanced meals. Green Chef offers a range of recipes to suit your preferences. I personally love that they have like all these different food choices and dietary restricted choices, because as a dairy-free pescatarian, you know, sometimes options get a little sparse, but not with Green Chef, okay? I really like the green pea falafel with tahini.
That's creative.
It's very good. It's very delicious. I didn't think I could make falafels, but Green Chef made it really easy for me. They have premium and organic seasonal produce, premium proteins, organic ingredients you can trust. Steve likes steak. What's your you like that steak and butternut squash? That salad?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good one. There's options for everyone, guys. It's convenient and easy. It's time-saving recipes. Everything takes like 30 minutes or less.
And it's good. It makes you feel like a chef after, even though you really weren't involved in the creative.
I feel accomplished.
Yeah.
And then I'm also the customer that tries the food, and I go, ooh, what 5-star chef cooked this?
Well, you know, when you're watching a YouTube video and you're like seeing somebody make something, you're like, oh, I wish I was eating this. That's like this, but you actually get to eat it at the end.
Yeah. Like Tasty Tuesday.
Exactly.
So go to greenchef.com/STDTY135 and use code STDTY135 to get $135 off across 5 boxes, plus free shipping on your first box.
Go to greenchef.com/STDTY135 and use code STDTY135 to get $135 off across 5 boxes, plus free shipping on your first box.
Green Chef, the #1 meal kit for eating well. Is the piece of plastic in your wallet doing enough for you? Because with the secured Chime Credit Builder Visa credit card, you can start building credit with everyday purchases and on-time payments. You see, with the Credit Builder, members can increase their credit history with no annual fees or interest. And having a good credit score can mean, I don't know, getting better car loan rates or renting apartments easier. Maybe you don't want a loan for a house, or maybe just you want to brag about how good your credit score is, because it feels good to be at the family dinner table and be like, yeah, you want to know what my credit score is? Probably better than yours. You want to compare scores?
No.
I didn't think so, because I've been building mine. Bro.
True.
So continue your credit journey with Chime. Sign up takes only 2 minutes and doesn't affect your credit score. Get started today at chime.com/STDTY. That's chime.com/STDTY. The Chime Credit Builder Visa credit card is issued by Stride Bank, N.A., pursuant to a license from Visa USA Chime checking account, and $200 qualifying direct deposit required to apply for the secured Chime Credit Builder Visa credit card. Regular on-time payment history can have a positive impact on your credit score. Impact to score may vary, and some users' scores may not improve.
Okay, welcome back to the Shit That They Don't Tell You podcast. He was named China named him the best global actor in 2013. He invented his own acting style called Nouveau Shamanic. He bought a dinosaur skull for $300,000.
A dinosaur skull?
Yes.
Okay.
He will be buried in a 9-foot pyramid. He once pulled a few teeth out so he could play a Vietnam veteran in a movie called
You're just
Birdie.
reading fun facts about Nick Cage?
He once woke up to find a naked stranger sitting in his bed.
Well, haven't we all?
We're talking about Nicholas Cage.
Haven't we all?
That's right. We're talking about Nicholas Cage. That was my intro coming back from the break.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah, you like that?
I love it.
Thanks.
Who else would we be talking about?
I mean, nobody.
Nobody really.
Yeah.
Wait, how is he legally allowed to buy a dinosaur skull?
So him and Leonardo DiCaprio were bidding on it. And then Nicholas Cage won.
Well, of course, because Nicholas Cage wouldn't stop even if he found out that he couldn't even afford it.
Oh, yeah, that's what I thought you were going to say is like, of course, Nicholas Cage wouldn't stop because he's worse with money than Leonardo DiCaprio.
Right,
which
exactly.
is obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is obvious.
Leonardo DiCaprio's like, oh yeah, I probably can't afford that at this point. And,
Yeah, he
and Nick
definitely
Cage is
can't.
like, I can afford anything I want, and then goes bankrupt.
Exactly.
Yeah, dinosaur skull, man, that's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I read this tweet the other day. It was like, people have been making dinosaur sounds. They never even heard a dinosaur.
That's true.
Yeah.
Why is that?
People just made up how dinosaurs sound.
That's hella true. It's like Steven Spielberg took like a squeaky gate at Universal and turned that into the Tyrannosaurus Rex roar. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like they just took a squeaky ass gate and just like, morphed it obviously with techniques and shit, and they turned that into the roar. It's like, yeah, that's what a freaking Tyrannosaurus sounds like, I guess.
No one
we
really
don't know
knows.
shit.
So they like Jurassic Park like established how we think dinosaurs sound basically.
What if dinosaurs just like sounded like your dad coughing?
Well, like or remember, you know how like tortoises have sex? It's like ah.
Oh yeah. That's
and like
true.
you would never guess that that's what sound would come out.
Yeah, if we didn't
like what
know.
if dinosaurs sounded like that?
That would be
just more like
It's less cinematic, I will say.
They just sound like unicorns.
It's a lot less cinematic, and that's maybe why. But yeah, Nicolas Cage famously told David Letterman one time.
Yeah,
this is one of my favorite quotes about Nicolas Cage. He said, because David Letterman was asking him if he drank beer when he was in high school, and Nicolas Cage said that one time he and his cat devoured a bag of mushrooms that had been in his refrigerator.
So that wasn't even the question that was asked.
Yeah. He answered it. He answered it about a bag of mushrooms. In a question about beer.
I see.
Yeah.
That's badass.
He's a badass guy. You know what I'm saying? He moves the beat of his own drum, and I feel like he's undirectable in a way where I think that because they always say like, what is an actor, right? You're an actor, right? What is your job as an actor? You think when you're in a movie?
It's to create
project.
a real space out of the imaginary world of the script.
And would you say that you're trying to execute a particular vision?
Sure.
Yeah, like whatever the director's vision is, you're trying to execute.
Yeah, you're trying to make this world that someone else has created come to life in the way that they...
Yeah, the way that they saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how come, like, Nicolas Cage worked with probably 70 directors, and he kind of does the same thing in every one of them? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like
because they paid too much for him.
Well, probably.
Well, the producers paid for him.
But I feel like I think he's one of the only real artists out there because he will not, whatever their vision is, the director's vision is, Nicolas Cage is like, I get what you're saying, but I should probably also like just destroy this table. And they're like, okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because he has his own technique for how he's gonna get it done.
Right.
And what I really think to me this is all about is how life hits you, taking things less seriously based on the circumstances of your situation. Because sometimes you kind of get forced to be humble. Right?
Yeah.
Like he wasn't doing, Sorcerer's Apprentice because he thought the script was kick ass. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe he did.
I doubt it.
Okay.
Maybe he was doing kick ass because he thought the script was kick ass.
Yeah.
Because that was pretty good.
Sure.
That was a good script.
That was good.
Right? But I don't think he would have been in a lot of things that we've seen him in lately, maybe including Mandy, but maybe not, if not for his spending habits.
Right.
And the destructiveness of his own, financial.
So it's what comes out when his back's against the wall.
Exactly.
Is this art?
Exactly right.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So I just think that.
What do you think? I'll wait for you.
Excuse me. Yeah.
What do you think Samuel L. Jackson's motives are for taking the movies he takes? Because he's a good actor.
I think that.
But he, the choices.
Well, are you saying that he's not in good movies?
I think the choices are interesting.
Because I think he only is in pretty good stuff. Like every MasterCard commercial I've seen him in is probably the best MasterCard commercial I've seen. Like I don't think he does a lot of things for money.
I think he does. He's actually talked about it before.
I think you're misquoting him.
Okay.
Yeah. I would
Google
love
it.
to see that quote.
Google it.
Are you saying that he does things for money?
Yeah, that's
Sam Jackson?
paycheck's a paycheck.
I haven't seen that information.
Well, I can't verify it if you don't Google it, but
Wait. It's okay,
but I
hold on.
thought I heard that, and like Snakes on a Plane. It's like funny. Like I think he is self-aware.
Well, Snakes on a Plane was also a movement movie. I mean, that was a funny movie.
Yeah. Didn't he say he wouldn't be in it unless they called it Snakes on a Plane? Yeah.
They were going to change it to like Flight 268 or
Yeah.
some shit, and he was like, absolutely not. It's called Snakes on a Plane.
Yeah.
And then they reshot a bunch of shit, and they added him
Added
saying,
more snakes?
Yeah, well, no, because the internet started to say like, oh, he better say like, I've had it with these snakes on this motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane, and then they reshot
They did
the movie
a
to
pickup
add
scene?
that in. Yeah,
That's funny.
mainly because they were like, oh shit, this movie's getting way more attention than we thought, so we'll put a little bit more money in it. So yeah, are you telling me that he did the movie The Hitman's Bodyguard for money?
I don't know.
Samuel L. Jackson. Are you telling me he did the movie
Every movie's for money.
Shaft 2 for money? Are you telling me he did the movie Moose for money?
I've never even heard of that movie.
Well, it's a TV short, and he's the narrator.
Okay. Yeah.
Are you telling me he did the short Tyrannosaurus Funk for money? I think not.
You know, I don't think the more that you're rattling those off, you're right. I think it's all art.
Are you telling me he was in Triple X: The Return of Xander Cage for a thing called money? I don't think so. Samuel L. Jackson is an artist,
Yeah.
much in the same way that Nicholas Cage is. It's just that he's never had the financial ruin to put his back against
That's
the
what
wall
I'm saying.
to really get him in some interesting stuff.
I think Samuel L. Jackson already did he already was doing that.
Yeah, he already paid his penance in a way.
Yeah.
So what happened to Elijah Wood, do you think?
Oh,
Because he was in Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
the trilogy, one of the highest grossing things of all time.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
now he's, you know.
Well, he like came out about that child pedophilia ring in
Oh, I
Hollywood,
remember that.
and then now he's not working.
And then he's on Wilfred. Next thing you knew, he's on Wilfred.
no, this Wilford was before that he
Oh,
talked
that's
about
right.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he did. Yeah, because he was saying that him and all the
Coreys.
the Coreys were all getting run through that.
Yeah, but
Dang.
he got protected from it.
Right.
Like his parents protected.
I remember that.
Yeah, yeah, true shit. That's crazy.
That's crazy, bud. Dang. Well, I want to thank everybody for listening to the Nicolas Cage.
Wait. Can I ask you some things about Nicolas Cage?
You're more than welcome to. I
Like-
was about to wrap it up.
Well, what's your favorite moment with of the two Nicolas Cages, the before and the after?
Well, he was kind of always doing it. I think that now he takes a lot more risks than he used to.
Yeah.
But like we were talking about during the break, I mean, everything he did in Moonstruck was like pretty much directly, like you could look at the shit he does now and look at the shit he did in Moonstruck. It's the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
He just looks much younger then.
Do you think that there's something that Nick Cage would have told himself that he wished he would have known?
Yeah. I mean, don't buy real estate in Malibu. Don't buy real estate in the Everglades. Don't buy real estate, in the south of France.
I mean,
In Bermuda. Don't buy 2 islands off of the Bahamas. Yeah, I think he'd make a lot of different
you
decisions.
could buy one of those.
He'd be like, what? He'd be like, yeah, maybe when you buy a shark, buy like a baby shark. Don't buy a whole shark.
Well,
know what
the
I mean?
baby shark would turn into an adult shark.
No, the baby sharks that you can have in your
Oh,
tank.
you mean the little baby shark?
The little baby
the,
sharks.
Like the ones that stay forever babies?
Yeah. The little
Gotcha,
cute
gotcha,
guys
gotcha.
that stay forever babies.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, this has been enlightening and a great way to end the year of shit they don't tell you.
Thank you.
That was a lot of shit I didn't know about Nicolas Cage.
Is there anything else that you wish that you knew about Nicolas Cage, real quick, before we leave?
Yeah, I wish I knew his philosophies on life straight from his mouth.
Maybe.
I'd also like to know what his favorite color is.
I don't have that information.
Yeah,
I
no one does. No one
absolutely
does.
lack it.
No one does.
Yeah, sorry guys, I don't have that one. If you're wondering what his favorite color is, I have no
I do.
idea. There's also a very famous,
I think orange.
there's a popular subreddit called One True God, which follows Nicolas Cage like a religion. Yeah, so these are all devotees of Cage, and
Are you part of that? I mean, clearly you know about it.
I have been there.
You've dabbled.
I've dabbled there, yeah. I'm not sure I'm a believer, but I understand what they're getting at, and I think that there's some There's a lot of history
you're
there.
not into religion in general, so
Right.
so like.
But I think there's a lot of history there where like they've found Nicolas Cage photographs of him in the 1800s and stuff, and they found like
Oh, I've seen that.
yeah, they found like cave paintings of Nicolas Cage like in the Myanmar and stuff. So like there's definitely documentation. So I can't just say like, hey, this religion is not real. Like there's definitely like historical documentation like that's irrefutable.
Yeah.
So I don't look at it like that.
They found a picture of Angelina Jolie from the 1800s too, and she looks exactly the same.
See, there you go. So yeah, I don't want to. I mean, it's like when I was talking to my dad about Jesus when I was a kid, and he's like, "Well, Jesus actually existed. Like all this other shit's bullshit because it didn't exist." And I'm like, "Well, there you go, historical
Cage
perspective,
existed, right?
I mean, we have all this, right? You
Right.
can see the picture of Nicolas Cage in the 1800s. Like you can see the cave painting of Nicolas Cage. Like it's not like these are not up for debate. These are just the facts.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So what's their religion?
Oh, that they worship Nicolas Cage and that they worship.
But they think he's the one true God.
They think that he is God.
But he was these pictures are from the 1800s. What, AD?
Yeah, of course.
What's the AD?
Not
stand?
1800 BC.
What's the AD stand for?
Anno Domini. How do you not know this? Anno Domini.
Well, some people say it's after death of Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, well, okay. But yeah, no, it's AD for Anno Domini, and yeah, we know they're. You can look at them up. You can look at them up right now
You can look them up.
if you want.
All right, I don't want.
I would like to leave now
Yes.
with a quote
Me too.
from Nicolas Cage,
Oh, okay.
which I think surmises life and existence in a way that I think is a nice thing.
Okay, go ahead.
So we'll leave you guys with that quote, and that will be our final thought for the day.
Our combined final thought?
I think so.
Sure.
So thanks for listening, and here it is, a quote from Nicolas Cage to take you guys into the new year.
I mean, I'll bet no one ever threw a pie at, like, Harriet Tubman, the founder of the Underground Railroad. I'll bet you $1 million fucking dollars.
Which is from the movie The Weatherman.
All right. You happy?
I'm very happy.